UFC 300 was this weekend, and the card absolutely delivered. It was quite possibly one of the greatest cards of all time, if not the greatest card of all time. This is my second take of the video because the first one I took was too long for YouTube, apparently. Fucking hate YouTube sometimes, but it is what it is. Really, really good card. I was absolutely appalled from the start all the way up. The fights absolutely delivered, just the best I've ever seen. Like, that's really as simple to say it. This was the greatest card that the UFC's ever put on. It was great on paper. It delivered on fight night. We had awesome moments, awesome fights, awesome finishes. I could not have been more excited on this card. Overall, on picks, I went 6-7, bringing my total record to 98-63. Didn't do great on predictions, but I could give fuck all considering how good these fights were. I was so delighted with how everything went. Overall, just it's a great time to be a UFC fan, man. And what we're going to do is break down the card today. We're doing my reactions. We're doing a breakdown and reaction, again, just repeating myself just because I'm so excited, of every fight on the card. I'm just going to let you know pretty much what happened, my thoughts on all of it. So we're going to start, and just like I said, this was the greatest card of all time. Started off with Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. I mean, two former champions battling it out. A fight that we wanted to see 4 years ago. We finally get today. They're both still of age to be fighting. Figgy gets it done in round 2 via sub. I picked a knockout, but he got it done via rear naked choke. In round 1, Cody and Davison both landed good leg kicks. Cody's were definitely better. And Cody was better on the feet. He had the better boxing, the better hands. He was faster. He was crisper. And Figueiredo noticed that, so he ends up getting a takedown, wearing down on Cody a little bit. I do give Cody round 1. I think he just landed better in round 1 and did more damage. Davison was getting the takedowns, had control, would kind of try and go for submissions, but didn't really get anything. And I think Cody did enough damage on the feet with the leg kicks and the boxing to take round 1. Really good round 1 from Cody, but really smart to see Figueiredo change things up. He saw that it wasn't going his way on the feet, and he switched things up. He goes to the ground. Smart guy. Round 2, he doesn't mess around. He doesn't want to stand with Cody on the feet for too long, so he shoots a takedown, gets the takedown, starts working on his transitions, ends up getting the back and getting the rear naked choke. Cody looked good until he was on the ground. His initial takedown defense is good, but when you keep chaining him together, he's struggled, and he kind of got exposed in his jiu-jitsu this week, or this weekend, because it just seemed like Figgy outclassed him in the jiu-jitsu, and we all know that, right? Cody has decent wrestling, initial takedown defense, and good boxing. Figgy's got good striking, takedowns, and jiu-jitsu. And he proved it. He did a great job of realizing that the danger with Cody was on the feet. I'm going to go to the path of the least resistance and force a finish. And he got a finish via rear naked choke. Cody looked like he really didn't know what to do in the jiu-jitsu. Now, to say he didn't know what he did is wrong. I get that. But he was just completely outmatched in the jiu-jitsu game against Davison Figueiredo. Really, really good work. Good submission from Figgy. Great fight to start the card. Jim Miller absolutely pieced up Bobby Green. In round 1, I thought Jim Miller was going to do it. I thought he was going to get the knockout. He got a knockdown early in round 1, and he was blasting good low kicks, and he really put Bobby on the back foot. Bobby's very talented on the back foot. After he recovered from getting knocked down, he just started landing 1-2s on Jim Miller, accruing insane damage to his face. Now, Jim Miller won round 1 because of the knockdown. Bobby did outland him, but it was close enough where Jim Miller wins because of the knockdown. Round 2, Bobby tees off. Bobby legitimately has one of the better rounds that I've ever seen him fight. Jim Miller's standing there, charging in and just walking towards Bobby, and Bobby is just 1-2 down the middle, 1-2 down the middle, switch stance, 1-2, switch stance, 1-2, and just peppering powerful 1-2s down the middle, crushing Jim Miller's face. Round 3, Jim Miller wobbles Bobby Green twice. But Bobby Green did so much damage in round 3 that it didn't matter. Round 3 goes to Bobby Green. He wins 29-28 on my scorecard. I think he got one of the judges 30-27, maybe two of the judges. I got 29-28, but regardless, the right guy won. It was Bobby Green. He looked incredible tonight. Just absolutely peppered punches on Jim Miller's face. And then he called out Paddy Pimblett. Great call out going to Manchester. You're going to get yourself on the main card, get yourself a good payday for that. Really good performance from Bobby Green. I was incredibly impressed with this. Sad to see Jim Miller get pieced off like that. I thought Bobby Green, because of the fight with Jalen Turner, was going to take a life-altering amount of damage, which he totally did, but his chin held up against a good, powerful puncher in Jim Miller, so really good work from Bobby Green winning that fight by decision. Rodriguez Andrade could have gone either way. Everyone's telling me I'm coping for thinking it was Rodriguez. It could have been. I do think Andrade wins the fight, though. Just like rewatching it, I thought that Andrade did win the fight. She clearly won round one, landing really good leg kicks, getting the takedown, getting the control time. Marina Rodriguez's boxing, though, was really good. She was landing great 1-2s down the middle, really tagging Jessica Andrade for like the first 4 minutes in round two. And then the last minute, Marina Rodriguez gets hit with a couple shots and just does not take them well, starts turning her back and like pretty much running away from Jessica Andrade. Really bad visual, and that terrible visual to the judges is definitely what gave Marina Rodriguez, or gave Jessica Andrade round two against Marina Rodriguez. It was tough to see because I do think Marina's the better fighter. She just had such a bad visual at the end of round two. It was really, really tough to see. It lost her round two, and then round three went to Marina Rodriguez. She was landing the better punches, great straight 1-2s down the middle, piecing up Jessica Andrade, just really exposing her hook, or like the hooking game that she has. But at the end of the day, Andrade got it done, winning rounds 1 and 2. 2 was very close. It was a split decision. I wanted Marina Rodriguez, but I think it was just Copen because I told everyone to take her and I was wrong. Really good performance from Jessica Andrade, kind of. But Marina Rodriguez looked pretty decent too. Her ground game does need work, I will say that. But her visuals need work. She can't just look like she's crumbling in a round that she is completely winning after getting hit a couple of times. It lost her the fight. Lost her the fight. But it wasn't as boring as I thought. It was an okay fight. This fight was an okay fight. Moicano broke Jalen Turner in round two. This was awesome. I got it wrong, and I'm honestly happy about it. It starts, and Jalen Turner blasts a body kick. Really hurts Moicano really bad, and I thought it was done within the first minute. Jalen Turner gets a performance bonus, but no. High IQ, monster, Money Moicano shoots, gets on the hips of Turner, gets the takedown, and controls most of the first round from there. Really, really good fight IQ, realizing I can't stand with this dude on the feet. He gets the hips, gets the takedown, gets the control time. His wrestling's good, his jiu-jitsu's good. He's an incredible top pressure, really good grappler. But before the end of the round, they get up. And Jalen Turner gets up. And he lands a 2 straight down the middle on Moicano, chinning him, putting him down, where Moicano is just staring up at the ceiling, waiting for the ground and pound, hoping to defend. But Jalen Turner's an idiot. He walked off. He thought he was getting the 300K from a walk-off knockout. He actually lost himself 300K by not getting the TKO finish with ground and pound here. He landed a clean 2 and had Moicano seriously hurt, and with a couple punches on the ground, he ends the fight, no doubt in my mind. But Money Moicano's tougher than that. You need to go down and finish Money Moicano. He's just not staying down there. You're not calling the fight from that. So the round ends, and Moicano knows that he cannot stand with Turner on the feet. Round 2 starts. He shoots takedown. He gets takedown, chooses position over submission, dominates in the top position, and then eventually gets to full mount, starts landing violent and vicious ground and pound. Kind of. He was just in a good position, really, and Jalen Turner just kind of crumbled from it. He broke. We've seen that Jalen Turner can break when he's getting in these positions where he's on his back against a better grappler just starting to tee off on him, and Moicano broke him. Jalen Turner lost himself not only 300K bonus, but he lost himself his win bonus because he didn't try and finish Moicano on the ground. Great work from Renato Moicano. I'm a huge Renato Moicano fan before this fight. I'm so glad he won, and I'm glad I was wrong because Moicano on the post-fight interviews is the best. No one beats him. He talks about how much he loves the First Amendment. Last one, he talked about how he wanted to join SWAT and kill the bad guys, how much he loves America and loves his country and wants to become a citizen. And then he plugs his own podcast. Great promotional technique. I mean, Moicano's the fucking man, dude. He is the best interview in the game, and he asked Joe Rogan to join his podcast to the point where if Joe Rogan doesn't join, he looks like a schmuck. So I'm really excited about Moicano, what he's going to do in the future. And, dude, people are forgetting, like, this guy was a monster at featherweight, and now he's just destroying people. Not destroying people, but he's getting these ranked wins at lightweight. It's time to give him a shot at the rankings. Get him against a grappler. I want to see it. Him versus someone that you'll see in matchmaking when I'm making it later tomorrow. So, really good performance from Moicano, showing very high fight IQ and gets the finish. Awesome work. This dude right here. I don't know what's good with Diego Lopez, bro. He's got a different power in his hands, and he's got it up close. The round starts, they're exchanging leg kicks, Diego's are looking better, and Diego gets a knockdown. All of a sudden, he's swarming. Sadiq Youssef has great grappling, great control. Youssef gets back up, and then they get really close again, and Lopez throws the uppercut, sits down Youssef, and finishes him with a TKO in round one. This dude's power is unmatched. This dude's finishing instincts are unmatched. I can't believe what we're watching. He's a superstar being born in front of our eyes. Awesome work with a round one KO from Diego Lopez. I got this wrong, and I'm fucking happy about it because Diego Lopez is legit. He's real deal. He's in the featherweight division, and he's going to keep rocketing upwards. We're looking at a superstar in the future, potentially a future champion. This dude on a full fight camp might actually be able to take on Movsar Evloev. I can't wait to see what's next for Diego Lopez. Insanely powerful hands, insanely killer instincts. This dude might have the best finishing instincts that I have had the privilege of watching. Because he goes in there, he gets the finish, and he doesn't get off you. He is going to swarm you and absolutely batter you. Great performance from Diego Lopez over an incredibly tough competitor in Sadiq Youssef. Sadiq Youssef is no schmuck. He's beaten insanely good fighters. He almost sparked Edson Barboza in round one of his last fight. He ended up losing that decision because he gassed himself out, but he didn't end up getting knocked out by Edson Barboza, and Lopez knocks him out right off the bat. Sick knockout from Lopez, sick performance from Lopez. Dana's going to take care of him. I can't wait to see what's next. Kayla Harrison did exactly what I thought, just a little bit of a round later. Takes down Holly Holm immediately, pretty much. Holly Holm does get back up, and then Kayla takes her down again with a headlock judo throw or something like that. Starts landing vicious ground and pound. Holly's head is up against the cage. Her back's up against the mat, and she is just, while Kayla is stacking, getting elbowed, punched, battered. The most damage that I have seen done to somebody at women's bantamweight. I'm actually interested in seeing what happens with Kayla Harrison next. Kayla ends up getting the TKO in round two because Holly was tough enough to survive that round one onslaught somehow. And then she just does the same thing, tees off, gets the TKO. Maybe she got the sub. I don't even fucking remember. It was just an absolute battering of Holly Holm. I'm excited to see what happens next for Kayla Harrison, dude. She's very, very good. Very, very powerful. And she's the best fighter in the women's bantamweight division. She's the only thing that can get Amanda Nunes interested in coming back, so let's do it. Kayla Harrison, give her a title shot next, and then that'll bring Amanda Nunes back when she inevitably destroys Juliana Pena or Raquel Pennington. It's the only way to make bantamweight division good, the women's bantamweight division. I can't believe I'm saying I'm interested in the women's bantamweight fight, and it's only Kayla Harrison. Really, really good performance from Kayla Harrison. Great debut. She's here to belong, where she belongs. Something like that. Aljo spoons and cuddles Kattar for 3 rounds. Boring fight. The commentary absolutely cooked Aljo. They were destroying him to the point where I actually felt bad. Aljo didn't even get a post-fight interview. It was so boring. Nobody wanted to hear him on the mic. He didn't even get an interview, which is funny, but I feel bad. But this went exactly how I thought, minus the submission. Aljo got control for all 3 rounds, even was outlanding Kattar on the feet when they were on the feet. Again, of course, because of the threat of the takedown. But Aljo looked big, he looked strong. Kattar looked slow, had ring rust, and was hesitant. Exactly what I thought, and it's sad to see. I wanted Kattar to win. I like Calvin Kattar a lot. He's a fun fighter. But he's coming off of like 3 surgeries on his knee. He's coming off of brutal injuries. And Aljo's going to shoot takedowns and test that knee the whole time. Then he's not going to hold up. Kattar has also never faced a super talented wrestler like Aljo is. As boring as it is, he's a very talented wrestler. Kattar's never faced someone like that, and it showed because Aljo really just had whatever he wanted in this fight. Really, really good. Not good. It was a dominant win from Aljamain Sterling, just grappling the whole time, getting control, did not get the finish, but really dominated Calvin Kattar the entire fight. It was sad to see for Kattar, man, because Kattar was so good, so violent, so physical, just fun to watch, and he just got wet blanketed for 3 rounds here in a boring fight, and I'd be remiss to say that it wasn't because his injury history really caught up to him, and it just showed in this fight. It was sad to see. Aljo gets the win in 3 rounds. Would like to see him fight a grappler next, so we're not forced to watch him just hold a striker to the ground. What a fight. This was fight of the night outside of the BMF title fight because Yuri slept Rakic in round 2 with an amazing comeback win. One thing I want to say about Alexander Rakic, motherfucker, I was wrong. I was dead wrong. This dude put on a show. Amazing leg kicks. beat up Hiri's leg, beat up his orthodox front leg, then beat up his southpaw front leg, was landing great counter shots, was landing great 1-2s, throwing the 3 in there, good hooks, good body shots. Like, Alexander Rakic put on a fucking show in round 1. Outclassed Jiri, looked incredibly good. Then round 2 comes around. And Rakic is doing the same thing. Except this time, Jiri's landing something back. And you can see in Rakic's face the point where he's like, what do I have to do to get this man out of there? Jiri took so many fight-ending shots, it was insane. But that dude is tough, that dude is a warrior, and he proved it tonight. Unbelievably good performance from Alexander Rakic, and a great comeback win from Jiri Prochazka wins him a performance bonus. Like, anyone else goes to sleep against Rakic there. He landed insane shots, but Jiri's chin is something that needs to be studied. This dude weathered an insane storm from Rakic to the point where Rakic had no idea what else he had to do to get Jiri out of there. Rakic performed so good, but Jiri is too damn tough for anybody, and he ends up getting the knockout. He wobbles Rakic, sends him to the ground, and then lands the ground and pound finish. Awesome comeback win from Jiri Prochazka. Set the crowd on fire. Set things up on the main card. Rakic, though, don't be distraught because, this dude is a mainstay in the top 5. He is going to be a monster. I think that Rakic is going to beat a lot of other people in this division. Eventually might get a title shot one day. So, really, really good fight. I recommend you watch this one, especially if you have ESPN+. It's free if you have ESPN+. Bo Nickal subs Cody Brundage in round 2, and the UFC has failed Bo Nickal terribly. They put him on the main card. Everybody was complaining about it. They set him up for failure. Cody Brundage put on early pressure, which made Bo clearly very uncomfortable. Bo did end up shooting, getting the takedown in round 1, and controlling the whole round. Going for submission, sure, but he just dominated and controlled the whole round. We expected a round 1 finish. We didn't get a round 1 finish. And that left a lot to be desired from fans, not because of Bo Nickal, because of the expectations the UFC set and expectations of our own. Bo Nickal's gonna be a good fighter, but he is strictly a wrestler right now. He has a lot that he needs to work on. His striking needs a ton of work. His jiu-jitsu needs a lot of work. The way he goes for submissions is not overly impressive. It's based off of sheer power. He needs to be a little bit more slick. He needs his jiu-jitsu transitions to be better because he's just not going to beat some of these top guys if he doesn't round out his game. And I don't want to rush him to the top, but I want him to stay active so he knows what it feels like to be in the octagon against different competition. But the UFC can't keep putting this guy on main cards, man. We all talked about how shitty of a performance it was from Bo Nickal. And yes, it was pretty boring. But the dude dominated all of round 1 and then got the sub in round 2. Now, Cody Brundage did have a moment where Bo shot a takedown and Cody literally just threw him off. But Cody knew what was coming. He knew that Bo was only going to shoot against him, and that's that. So, realistically, Bo Nickal has a very, very good, dominant win. We had expected more, but I blame ourselves in the UFC for that. We have put insanely unrealistic expectations on someone that's only 5-0, now 6-0. Bo Nickal is going to be good. We just got to help him get there. And the UFC, Bo Nickal's a good guy, dude. He's a humble guy. He's a country dude from America, loves the country, great wrestler, family dude. Talks about how important it is to be a good husband, good father. He says all the right things. But the UFC has set him up to be hated by giving him this preferential treatment. And Dana shrugs it off as, it's not preferential treatment. Dana, if you weren't cooking right now, I'd make a whole video about how you fucking said that this wasn't preferential treatment. Because this is. And you're making Bo Nickal hated. Learn from this. Listen to the way the crowd sounds. Stop putting him in a tough spot to be hated. But dominant win from Bo Nickal, round 2 sub. Charles lost to Arman in a razor-thin split. I kind of think Charles won this. The reason being, round 1 definitely goes to Charles. He almost gets a guillotine. Very, very tight. And he lands more and better on the feet. Overall, that's a win in round 1. Arman looked like his head wasn't entirely in the game right off the bat just because he punched a fan in the crowd. That was insane. But I gotta say, people are getting real too comfortable with being mouthy and being touchy and shit-talky without getting their fucking face beat in. People are getting way too comfortable thinking that they can throw a lawsuit around because they can be an absolute fucking punk and expect not to get fucking punched in the mouth for it. Kudos to Armin. Based move by Armin, just punching that crowd member. Low-key love it. Unless the guy was cheering on Armin, and Armin had no idea what he was saying. But Charles wins round 1. Looked pretty decent in round 1. Almost had the sub. You could see he started to get a little bit tired. Round 2, Armin gets his takedown. Charles looked like he was afraid to be taken down too. And I understand why now, because Armin landed incredibly damaging elbows in round 2. Now, people will say Armin crotch sniffs, and he does. Round 2 was not a showcasing of that, because Armin landed a lot of damage, did great ground and pound, and was actually entertained in round 2. I was just upset that Charles was losing it. So it's 1-1 going into round 3. They're exchanging evenly on the feet. Armin gets his takedown and lays on Charles Oliveira, doing no damage in round 3. But because he has the control, he's winning the round. And then, in the last minute of round 3, Charles latches up a darce. Charles latches up a tight darce choke. Armin goes limp. I thought he was out cold. I think he was just playing dead so that way Charles would be like, oh, I have it in, and just tire Charles out. Or he was trying to focus on his breathing, control himself. I thought Armin was out cold, but he wasn't. But that darce choke, I am going to argue, was way more damaging, way closer to fight ending, and scores 10 times better than Armin laying on Charles for the rest of the round. So I kind of think Charles won the fight. It absolutely could have gone Armin's way. It's not a robbery. Anyone that's calling a robbery doesn't know what a fucking robbery is, and I talk about that all the time. Armin looked solid. He won the fight. I kind of think Charles deserved it. I think he did the more damaging, but again, I'm super biased. I like Charles 10 times more than Armin. And the other thing that I want to mention, Armin got bailed out of a possible triangle / Oliveira get up to the feet, where Oliveira probably would have walked him down for the rest of the first round and made it look a lot more damaging, landing some good shots. But he threw a kick that went off of the side, like hit Armin in the chest / shoulder and skidded to the chin. Barely touched him. Armin didn't even really understand that it was an up kick or that it touched him. But the ref, of course, stopped it, put Armin back in control position. Charles was saying sorry about it. I think that was stupid. I think he should have let him fight, especially because Armin had no reaction at all. No reaction at all. I was just disappointed that they give this fight to Armin when I thought Charles did the more damage. Charles had the more fight-ending potential, and Charles is the guy we want to see, man. He really is. But Armin versus Islam poses a great matchup. We've already seen Charles versus Islam. I just hate seeing Charles lose. It was sad. This one was the most heartbreaking fight on the card, but Armin got the win. Could have gone either way. I kind of give it to Charles, but I'm not upset with an Armin. I'm upset that Armin won, but I'm not upset that the judges gave it to him because I can see it that way. The greatest fight that I have watched in a long time. Maybe the greatest moment I've seen in a long time. And Max Holloway comes out the gate in the BMF title fight, and Gaethje and Max put on a war. This starts, they're a little bit hesitant, but Max is the one landing more. Gaethje's landing great leg kicks, but Max is landing the better punches. It just was pretty solid work in round 1, and then at the end of round 1, Holloway shatters Gaethje's nose with a spin kick because Gaethje goes down. Gaethje covers a body shot by going down, and it catches his nose, shatters his nose, and he was having problems with his nose. Gets to the corner in round 2, they plug it up, and all of round 2, Gaethje's touching his nose. He's bothered. While Gaethje's touching his nose, Max is landing shots. Max is just going ahead, getting the fight up 2-0. Then he lands 2 eye pokes. Gaethje, the warrior that he is, says, fuck that, I'm going to keep fighting. Awesome, awesome stuff from Gaethje saying, I'm going to keep fighting. Max was super apologetic. Max knows it was an accident. He landed those 2, and that was that. Round 3. Max continues to piece Gaethje up. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh my God, Max is like in the GOAT conversation. Max is destroying a guy 10 pounds heavier than him, right? Max goes up in weight now to get here, but Max is destroying a guy that fights at a higher weight class normally. A guy that blasts leg kicks and has chewed his leg. Max has a giant welt on his leg. He's got his leg chewed. But Max is too tough, walking into it, landing his own shots. And Max isn't landing pitter-patters. Max is landing power. He's landing volume and power. So, this is looking good. Round 4. Round 4, Justin Gaethje actually knocked down Max Holloway. And now this fight's getting even more interesting. This was a good fight to start, and then round 4 and 5, this became an absolute battle. Gaethje gets the knockdown, wins round four. Max does outland Gaethje, but Gaethje's leg kicks and how much damage they're doing and the knockdown give him the round to me. It's 3-1 going into 5, and Max is coasting in round 5. First of all, Gaethje's bringing the fight. Gaethje's saying, I know I need to finish. He's walking to Max. He's bringing the fight. These guys are swinging leather. This is an unbelievable, incredible fight. One fight of the night. But Max Holloway won performance bonus of the night, won $600K because in the last 10 seconds, Max is clearly winning this fight. But he knows this is the BMF title fight. And he said, Gaethje, we're fighting for the BMF title. Let's go to war. I'm going to give you a chance. 10 seconds left, just like he did against Ricardo Lamas. Points at the ground, says, let's sling, and they sling. Max is landing body, head. Gaethje's just winging hooks, landing to the head, and he's landed, and I'm like, oh my god, anyone can go out, and sure as shit, with 1 second left, Max lands the punch that puts Gaethje to sleep. He put Justin Gaethje to sleep. I'm just thinking about it right now. I'm going crazy. I might watch it again today for like the 3rd time. It was insane. That was the craziest knockout. I'm sure you've seen it everywhere on social. That was absolutely insane. Maybe not the greatest knockout of all time. I think I still kind of give that to Leon. The greatest moment of all time, though. The greatest 10-second exchange of all time. And he did it for the BMF title in a weight class up where he normally fights. What a fucking performance for Max Holloway. Dude just became an absolute superstar. He is the BMF champion against a dude that was legitimately the BMF. So, I mean, what work for Max Holloway? There is so many options for him from here. Dude just rocketed into superstardom. He is going to sell a pay-per-view better than anyone not named Conor McGregor right now. He's the dude. Like, he is that guy. He is a monster. And if he wants to go back down to 145, he can fight Ilya. If he wants to go down to 145 and you know, stay there for a second and O'Malley Cruz wins, I'd love to see O'Malley versus Max. I'd like to see Max even fight Islam. I think Islam wins the fight, but I'd love to see it. Like, Max is that dude. Max just became a superstar. Max has already been a superstar. But Max just put himself into a new echelon with this performance. Amazing performance, amazing moment. One of the greatest, the greatest moment of all time. Zhang Weili versus Yan Xiaonan. I called this fight perfectly. 49-46 by making it an MMA fight, grappling, using the kicks, and that's exactly what happened. Now, I will say, Yan Xiaonan did perform well. She knocked down Zhang Weili in round 3. She took round 3. The other rounds were all Weili, though. I will say that 4 and 5 were pretty close. 2 and 3 were getting close, but when it got to the ground, Zhang Weili just outmatched Yan Xiaonan on the ground. In round 1, Zhang Weili got a submission. Like, she literally did, but the clock just ran out. And you can see Yan Xiaonan was pretty much asleep. The bell rings, gets up, wobbles over, has no feet under her. So Yan Xiaonan got subbed in round 1. Then she got her back taken, flattened out, and TKO'd in round 2 with ground and pound, but she was too tough for it. Landed like 50-1 in strikes at that point. So she got TKO'd, she got subbed, and then Weili ends up winning a 49-46 decision. Yan Xiaonan, the first person in history to get TKO'd, subbed, and decisioned all in the same fight. But what a warrior, what a tough girl. This was a good fight. Like, this really was a good fight, and the crowd wasn't as electric for it, but that's not because the fight wasn't good. That's because the adrenaline dump that had to happen after Gaethje versus Holloway before this. I nailed this fight, 49-46, Zhang Weili, exactly how I said, making it an MMA fight. And then Alex one-punched Jamal Hill in round 1, and it was a cool moment. I love Jamal Hill so much. I think he's the best fighter, apparently not named Alex Pereira in this division. He's an absolute stud, warrior, and Jamal Hill's got a sick chin, like a very tough chin. And Alex Pereira didn't even find the chin. He found the cheek. But he still put him out because that left hook is the most deadly weapon in the UFC. It's the most deadly weapon in UFC history. I could give fuck all about Mirko Cro Cop's head kicks. Because this is the best weapon in the UFC, that left hook. I can't believe it. They're exchanging leg kicks early in round 1. Jamal Hill goes for a kick to the body. I think it was a teep. Ends up grazing the cup. Herb Dean comes in to stop it, and Alex Pereira goes, no. Trauma. So he literally goes, stares Jamal Hill in the eye, sees Herb Dean coming out of his peripherals, goes, no. 3 seconds later, walks forward, lands the left hook. Hill can't take it, goes down, gets ground and pound TKO'd. Oh my god, Alex Pereira is a monster. Alex Pereira is a monster. He's a superstar, deserved the 300 headline. What a card, what a finish to it. Yes, I'm sad. Yes, I am absolutely sad that this happened to my boy Jamal Hill. but holy shit, what a night. Holy shit, what an event. This was absolutely impeccable. UFC 300, 100% delivered. Please like and subscribe to the video if you enjoyed the content. More coming out this week. I got reactions to the fight announcements that Dana White made, and I got UFC matchmaking coming up. I'll get a couple more stuff cooking for you, but these are my reactions. This is the breakdown. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember, please like and subscribe. UFC 300 delivered. Dana, keep cooking.